Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our major stories. Benue State Governor Samuel Otom orders prosecution of everyone involved in the latest violence in the state as warring parties agree to mend fences. Cattle breeders call for the establishment of a ministry for livestock development as a solution to the face-off between farmers and herdsmen. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana accuses the Department of State Security of deceiving the Shiite leader Ibrahim El-Zakzaki and his wife with a promise of freedom for the media parade in Abuja. And Liberia's ruling party expels outgoing President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf after she was accused of encouraging people to vote against her vice, Joseph Boakai. On our top stories and others, please visit our website. It's channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Log on to m.channelstv.com to watch us on your mobile device or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. And there's more. The Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You also have access to the Eyewitness feature with which you can share those pictures, videos, or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. And talking about images, here are some of them you sent into our Eyewitness portal today. We begin with these set of images from Boki local government area of Cross River State. Our Eyewitness reporter is celebrating the ingenuity of a young man called Olga Austin for designing a hydroelectric power generator with which he powered his community. Our Eyewitness reporter wants the young man encouraged, especially now that the country is still grappling with the challenges of power supply and distribution. Next is this one from Balogun Street on Lagos Island in Lagos State, showing a heap of refuse. Our Eyewitness reporter who sent this wants the government to clean the rubbish. And still in Lagos State is this next image from Bariga area showing the terrible living conditions of these residents. Our Eyewitness reporter says this was once a fishing community affected by the ongoing dredging at Urushoki. Residents are calling on the state government to upgrade their facilities there. Thank you so much for sending in those images, and we do encourage you to keep them coming. A lot of reactions have trailed the comments made by the governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, who alleges that militiamen responsible for the attacks in his state are camped in Tunga village in our local government area. Now, this claim has been criticized highly by Tunga residents and the Nasarawa State Governor, Tanko Almakura, as they insist there is no face-off between farmers and herdsmen in their community. Our community report takes a look at the issues creating problems between these neighbors.
An emergency town hall meeting with the Inspector General of Police in Benue State. Here, an embattled Governor Samuel Otom claims to know where the bulk of the problem of his state is coming from.
These militia are camped in Tungwa in a way local government. And that is where they are coming to launch attack and kill us.
It will be surprising if a comment like this is ignored. And in no time, reactions from all corners in Nasarawa start pouring out. This is Tunga, the community in the eye of the storm. Situated in Away local government area of Nasarawa State, Tunga is said to be a home to a mix of herdsmen of Fulani origin and TV ninjas from Benue. The business activities in this part of the neighborhood does not give anything away. But in another area, there are those who are not pleased with the accusation, and they're having a meeting with the traditional ruler on the matter. He expresses his unhappiness.
I was really shocked. Somebody that is assisting the thief people so that they will not be panicked by the development at Benue. And we are now saying it is Tunga people that are harboring Fulanis.
Some take turns to speak on what they see as a cordial relationship, while others do not feel safe and are calling for security presence.
We are living peacefully with tea farmers here in Tonga. We are even taking care of their houses and belongings. We do not have any problem with them. We will not agree if anyone tries to come between us. We will not fight, as we are not created to fight.
It is not happening here. It is in Benue that it is happening, but we are pleading with the government and traditional rulers to deploy security agents to stay with us.
The words of Governor Autumn has also made his way to the top, where his counterpart, Tanko Almakura, openly disputes the accusation at this security meeting with stakeholders from representatives of both sides.
So we're not having any problem at all. If anything, we are protecting the citizens here. We're also protecting any citizen coming from Benue that finds themselves a safe haven.
While the chairman of the Herdsmen Association insists that rather than hold any grudge, they go all out to protect their neighbors.
Here in Nasarawa State, we, the Fulani community, we use our vigilante group to assist the thief community in most of their villages to arrest most of the criminal elements that are scaring them.
The chairman of the Thieves Development Association says this matter has thrown doubts on the safety of his people, who are slowly seeking refuge elsewhere.
The thieves in these areas are running out of the area. They are being camped in IDP camps.
Perhaps the most important reaction is from the Inspector General of Police, who says his agency is pulling out all the stops to ensure the crisis is contained.
I've deployed 10 mobile police units in Benue. I've deployed 1 unit of special forces in Benue. I've deployed various investigative teams in those locations where we are having this allegation.
Words are powerful and can be used to either end a problem or escalate it. So for all in authority speaking on this matter, the hope of the entire nation is that promises of safety are kept and the reassurance of peaceful coexistence is guaranteed.
Human rights lawyer Femi Falana has accused men of the Department of State Securities, DSS, of deceiving his client, Ibrahim El-Zakzaki, and his wife before parading them before the media in Abuja. Mr. Falana accused the DSS of misinforming the El-Zakzakis on the residence of the federal government to release them after a media parade which lasted for 1 minute and 20 seconds in a detention custody. According to him, the DSS used the parade to dispel rumors that the El-Zakzakis have died in detention. The human rights lawyer says the aim of the men of the DSS at creating an impression that the El-Zakzakis are hale and hearty is untrue, as both husband and wife are in need of medical attention. The senior advocate of Nigeria wants the federal government to respect the rule of law by releasing the Shiite leader and his wife so they can get the much-needed treatment. And it's been over 19 hours since Mrs. Marie Ebikake, a former commissioner for transport in Bayelsa State, was kidnapped from a residence at Yanagwa, the Bayelsa State capital, and family sources said the kidnappers are yet to demand for a ransom. Mrs. Ebikake, who served under Governor Seraki Dixon during his first term in office, was reportedly abducted at about 2 a.m. today. According to a family source, the suspected kidnappers have been on her trail since last week after invading her country home 4 days ago in Brass Town. The Bayelsa State Police Command, which confirmed the kidnap, says a manhunt has been launched to rescue the victim and apprehend the perpetrators. From security matters to politics now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, that's INEC, has declared Mr. Victor Omeh winner of the Anambra Central Senatorial rerun election. INEC's Chief Returning Officer, Professor Charles Esemone, announced that Mr. Omeh, the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA, polled a massive 64,878 votes. His closest rival, Senator Chris Ngige of the All Progressive Congress, came second with 975 votes. 14 political parties fielded candidates in the rerun election, while the People's Democratic Party candidate, Obiora Okonkwo, was excluded after the Court of Appeal insisted on going ahead with the exercise. On Friday, Justice John Soho of the Abuja Division of the Federal High Court set aside an earlier judgment declaring Mr. Okonkwo as a duly elected senator representing Anambra Central. And to discuss more about what to expect ahead of the 2019 general elections, we're being joined by Channels Television's data analyst, Babajide Ogunsowo. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, did I interrupt something?
Oh, yes. It's looking at what were the headlines 4 decades ago.
Okay.
And the election results, this was said in 1979. And then the President Obasanjo, told us that there were 2 types of politicians. 2 types of politicians, he said. He said the first type were those that do not know what they are talking about. He classified those as politicians we should pity. Now, the second category of politicians, according to President Obasanjo, are those that know what they are talking about, but intentionally mislead the people. Now, this was in 1979. 2 types of politicians. Now, it's almost 4 decades after. Have this category of politicians changed? Now, the INEC has released this timetable, and we're about to find out if we still have these 2 categories of politicians in 2019. Now, according to the INEC... Did you
say 2? There's 68 political parties, Babajide.
Yes, there are 68 political parties, but a lot of these political parties are what we could classify in colloquial terms as they're just coming to be part of a party. They're coming to a party without gifts, but they're just coming to have the jollof rice. So they are in what the Yorubas will call Mogbo Moya. There are political parties that have no agenda. They're not coming with gifts for the people, but they are coming to eat of the rice that they did not even partake in preparing. So let's look at the key 3 dates that INEC has said people need to focus on. August 19 is when the political primaries should start. Now, you probably want to write that down. The second most important date is when the campaigns kick off, November 18th. Now, the third date, which all Nigerians are waiting for, is February 16th, when the presidential elections will hold. But today, what is on the lips of Nigerians is 2018. Is it really going to be about economic development, or are we going to be focusing on who shall win the election? Now, the evidence shows from 1 year to the election, 1978, 1998, and even more recently, 2014, that 1 year to the election, it is really not about economic development. It is about election winning. So perhaps this year we shall see the federal government moving the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, the ERGP. Perhaps we'll step aside, and this year we shall see the introduction of the PPCM. Now, what is the PPCM, which some people call the PPCP? That's the Political Permutations and Combinations Plan. That perhaps is going to be what we shall be focusing on this year, and it no longer will be the ERGP.
Now, there was a low turnout of voters during the Anambra Central senatorial elections, which took place yesterday. Do you think that these numbers will probably rise during the governorship elections in perhaps let's look at Osun and Ekiti State?
So let's look at what had happened yesterday, 9% turnout. But again, the low turnout is just the symptoms. Let's look at the causes. Now, according to Factbox, in a recent research, there are 3 leading causes for low turnout of election. The first is people think their votes do no longer count. The second is people are losing faith in leadership. That is the second thing. And the third thing is people are relying more on God. Now, let's look at the first 2 things. People thinking their votes do not count, and people relying less on leadership. In 1998, into 1999, when the first elections happened, we had 29.8 million votes. That showed a lot of enthusiasm. And then the second election in 2003, that had risen to 39.8 million votes. That's been the highest total number of valid votes we've had in the Fourth Republic. And between 2003 and 2015, we've never seen turnout as high as 2003. So we've seen a lot of volatility. Last year, or rather in 2015, we had 28.5 million votes. That was not even up to the total number of people that came out in 1999. And so we see a lot of voter apathy, people thinking their votes do not count, and people thinking that leadership is failing. But perhaps the third reason, based on the research, is people relying more on God. The survey says when they ask people, what do you think about the future? They say God knows best. what the Igbos will call Chuku Kachamara. The Hausa said Alashinya Gaskia. So people are relying more on God and relying less on the government. But can God provide the economic prosperity Nigerians need? There are 3 calendars that more than the INEC timetable Nigerians are calling for. They're calling for the calendar for debates. Nigerians want to see the calendar for prosperity. And Nigerians now, more than ever before, want to see the calendar for peace.
Let's hope they get that. Thank you so much for joining us, our Channels Television's data analyst, Babajide Ogunsanwo. And when the news at 10 returns, the Tony Elumelu Foundation and the International Committee of Red Cross sign an MOU to empower 200 entrepreneurs from the Northeast and the Niger Delta region. Join us again.